looking at migrants' rights before they look at our rights. And I believe that we need a structured program to deal with the homeless in Guyana. And not just putting them in shelters, but putting them there and developing programs so that they can stand on their feet, develop themselves economically, and move on out of the shelter. Because there are also dangers in people becoming accustomed to a shelter. So that. Now, the government is afraid of house-to-house registration, and they're not going on that. We have engaged the international community on the need for a clean voters list and biometrics. We will continue to do that, and we will take the actions we need to take to ensure we get a clean voters list. But we also live in the real world. We will begin and continue to train our people to monitor those polling stations, because even if you get a clean voters list, you need to have people who are well prepared. And one of the mistakes we make is we tend to focus a lot on our support base and don't train specifically for the PPP base. And there is where we will have to watch. We saw from the last recount in all the PPP strongholds on the East Coast, there were clearly cases of irregularities and fraud. So we understand that and will focus on this.
Next question.
That is cool. I listened to your plans for the annual, and as impressive as it is, we first of all have to win the elections. Everything is meaningless. And I recognize over the years I've looked at the conduct of elections. We have always found ourselves short of resources, and in particular on elections day. My question to you today is, what it is that you want from us? What is it you're expecting of us in the diaspora? Apart from the, the contribution of money, because money is important, and talking about money, I think we need to find a structured way in which people here can donate each month. The same $20,000 you spoke about, that there are people who are willing to do it. Let's broaden the support in the diaspora and find a way where we can offer everyone, the person who can donate $10 a month, to the person who can donate $10,000 a month. Let's find a structured way in the diaspora to have a continuous donation. Second point I found lacking in our preparation is an absence of intelligence. The party must develop an intelligence apparatus that functions on its own and can provide the kind of information you will need to conduct the canvassing and to conduct elections. We've sorely been lacking that for years. And which is a suggestion again, not so much a question, very pointed. We don't need house-to-house registration. We need house-to-house canvassing, so we can know who are the people who will vote for us, and we must be able to penetrate those regions, regions 1 and regions 3 and regions 5 and 6. Those are the regions we need penetration, and we need, as we would see, boots on the ground to do the house-to-house canvassing. I think along with the other structures you've spoken about, if we can get those things going, if we can use people in the diaspora, there are a lot of people here who retire. They are prepared to go home. Someone just mentioned she goes to Ghana 4 times a year. Apart from doing what she's doing, coming to party at quarters, find what can be done. And then the other thing is that there are people here who work from villages and who move from certain regions. They should be in touch with the party representatives in those areas so they can know, hey, we need a new captain. We need a new captain in the office. We need some paper. People can make those donations directly to different regions and different sectors in the country. And I think that is something that party groups need to look at and establish a structure for that kind of a system.
Okay, thanks for the question. Before I go to your question, I didn't answer the question. My dear, I'm sympathetic because it's a very corrupt system, and I don't know what I can tell you because I know people come that I get from pay and get through, and I would advocate that you go pay to get through. But to say to you that the ministry is so corrupt, I can understand the problem. However, we rectify that. So the other speaker, I want to say we don't need our social registration. Yes, we need it. We, at present, we are taking young people to register, but it will make life much easier if we get house to house. But in the absence of house to house, we're taking people to register. You ask what support we need. A lot of technical support. Let me say, for instance, here I met an engineer who I've engaged, and based on our experience, we've asked her to generate some plans, and we're going to put together a group of these engineers to talk about it, because we have general ideas of what we want to do. Let me tell you what happens in there. Yeah, you wake up a morning or in front of you, somebody tell them they want a road here, and they put a road. If you said you'd be home, you would see those people were saying to them, one of them said since the 60s, at some stage you have to put a rail from Suicide to the East Coast. They cut it through Diamond, put it on Cherry Street, and all they have done was to move some of the traffic from the east back, and they now two places congested, Sheriff Street, Mandela Avenue, and we got in the first place, it was food planning. That's something that I hear people talking about there. If he had the basic common sense, he would have looked and see that all the schemes that were not built had multiple exits. This man built a scheme with one entrance, one exit. And what does he expect? And now they come putting these roads like if it's some vision. They are rectifying their incompetence. And so that should be made very clear. So we need that technical capability in all areas, housing, water, union, and we are supposed to put in together groups to brainstorm them, engage us, and let us benefit from the capabilities here. We also believe you can engage your friends, your families in Guyana, help to educate them and encourage them to support us. That is critical. A lot of people here are in contact with people in Guyana, and sometimes you don't know, sometimes people will ask for pay more attention to Guyana news than Guyanese. Yes. You might find that you will be a better educator. I hear you on intelligence. I wouldn't commit in public. We'll talk by ourselves. But I want to say this to you as well. Very critical to this next election is having the data to do the analysis. And I can say to you, we have progressed a far way in terms of putting together a data unit to help us to deal with that. But I hear you on intelligence, but I don't know that it is an issue that is best discussed in the public domain. Now, we also need assistance to get a proper PR company. We've engaged one, I won't give the details, but we would need to engage a professional PR company. We will continue to do what we're doing, but you need a professional PR company to help us. You mustn't have the head in the sand. The PPP has always had a well-oiled PR machinery. That is why they put light, and then they take the light, put it out there, and people believe it is true. It is because of that machinery, and we need to deal with that. So I would say, on the question of finances, I agree with you. We should extend it out of there to the diaspora. I know there are some people working on the website to be able to do that. It is my sincere hope that in a very short while, Guyanese will be able to access a website and contribute to us as a party. I'm very much interested in us getting small contributions across so that we remove the vulnerability that comes when you rely on a few big business people. And then after you get power, they want to control everything. Our focus has to be on delivering to our people. I hope I've answered all of the questions.
Just a couple of observations. One, I think we have 30 or 32 MPs in Parliament. I would like to know what are those people in applying with the Parliament and collecting the salaries. I am one person who looks at the news in another guy. I also go home with regular. And what I've noticed is that most of our MPs are not on the ground interacting with people who we are supposed.
My name is Helen. I apologize for being late. I learned to do a visit a little later, and so I had to make some adjustments. I was able to make it. But Mr. Nortu, welcome to the Diaspora. I know you're a child, like being in PNC, and so, but I'm here to see.
You didn't know me when you were a child.
I was a child. But I would like to say I'm not here as a party affiliate, you know, to PNCR. I'm here as a Guyanese who, and I have constraints. I love my country. I was born and raised there. I served in the armed forces here. I love the government. And all these things I wish to do, but I've been forced to leave the land that I was born in, and even though I've served for the former years of my life here, all the United States government is still identifying me as Guyanese in and out of uniform. I'm currently and it's really sad to watch. I observe keenly, and it's heartbreaking to watch what's happening. And student politics, it's really heartbreaking to watch. It's textbook style state failure, and you better know this. So Is the APNU, PNCR have a leadership problem still? Because we did, but they did. Whatever. We as a Guyanese, and it's a political party now. You're the leader now. You know, there's a cadre of people like me, Guyanese, across the Diaspora, who want to get involved in the development of our country, but there's a space of ambivalence. We have questions, serious questions. So I thank you for availing yourself to the Diaspora. Who are we to ask? But it's really difficult. Yeah, I know the glitz and glamour being in America. I've had the opportunity to go three places outside of there. I understand your homes, I understand patriotism, I understand nationalism. I want to do this for my own country. Do you understand? So please.
Let me say a few things. When one looks at that, there are deteriorated on the people's progressive party. When David Ranger came to power, we started to see some hope. Like I said before, law enforcement began to improve, health began to improve, water began to improve, life generally. The People's Progressive Party cannot afford a law-abiding society. It is not within their modus operandi. They need lawlessness to thrive. And in some regard, they feed our youth a diet of entertainment and lawlessness. Those issues we have to address. But I want to say this. I believe that once we do a number of things, we can restore that. And one, develop a kind of police force that is well paid and is made to operate based on law. Two, develop our health facilities so people who are accustomed to a certain level of treatment can be at home and get that treatment. Education is the key. I have the view that we have to relook our education system totally. And our focus has to be primary education. If you produce good primary school children, you tend to produce better children generally. And even if the child drops out of school in, say, Form 3, they would have had the base. So one of the tasks we will have to undertake is to ensure that by the time our children in grade 3 and 4, they know to read, they know to write, they know to reason, they know to comprehend, among others. Because you need a thinking person. Right now, the system is moving in the direction of just people remembering rather than understanding. And so, changes in the education system are critical, and we have identified a number of flaws in the system that needs to be rectified. For instance, a child goes to school straight through to Form 5, didn't get CXC, but there's no mechanism to say that they have achieved this up to third form. When I went to school, it was British, but I did College of Preceptors, so that when you fell out of school in fourth or fifth form, you had something to fall back on. I believe we need to put a certificate at the third form level that gives a fair assessment of a child and allow them an opportunity to be technical and other things. So what I'm saying to you is that there are solutions, but Ghana's problem, we have to reduce corruption. We lose a lot due to corruption. And once a system is corrupted, it will find difficulty achieving its objective. And so we will have to put higher on the agenda this question corruption. Guyana is what it is because the People's Progressive Party has allowed corruption to become a norm. You know, become a norm. And we will have to address that. We will have to bring in more technical skills, train more capable people to help us to govern the society. So there are a number of issues we have to address. And I can say to you, our government, we continuously take through these things. We are putting plans in place, and the next government will be a government that will address those concerns and make you a much happier person. But I want to say that you can help by engaging our people and saying to them, look, do not be carried away by lawlessness. Life is better governed by rules. The rule of law is good. But do not be carried away and celebrate people who took thief billions. And you're celebrating them as heroes while they underpay your people who study and are competent, and you are forcing them to migrate. We will have to have mechanisms to bring back some of our trained people. I mean, I was at a function last night. The people who came to school with me, who are at the trade school, some at Mackenzie High School with me. And you know what was the sad reality of last night? I was like the only one that came from home. Everybody was resident here. And it is sad to say, but it is true. Of my schoolmates, I only know of 3 of us in Guyana. My classmates, rather. I know only about 3 of us in Guyana. All the rest are sort a few died, but most of them are in the diaspora. And so they will have to be some mechanism by which one of them has to be offering packages of wages and salaries and benefits that will want people to come home. But I addressed a diaspora conference a few years ago, and I said, there are faults both at home and abroad. There are people who come from the diaspora. I mean, today I was engaging one in Canada, and he tells you about his technical capabilities and talk down to people as if he is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, and has all the control of knowledge. If you go to Guyana and you deal with people like that, you get rejection. And then on the Guyanese side, there are people who feel threatened by expertise coming home. We have to find a way to bridge that gap and to do some form of education and training so that those over here don't believe that they have a right and they have achieved so much that they can talk down. And us at home mustn't believe that everybody come in to take the job. There are many jobs in Ghana to be filled that sometimes you don't have the expertise. What I'm saying to you, human relations play a critical part in developing and utilizing the competence of the diaspora for Guyana. And some of it will need an attitudinal metamorphosis. Thank you.
And it's about your specific plan to engage the diaspora. I know I can help. I like to help. And I also know that a significant portion of the answer to some of the solutions, as you well know, I'm Guyanese. I came to the US because there were economic opportunities here, right? And I was poor in Guyana, and an opportunity arose, and I got it, and I came, like most Guyanese. Mr. Norton, I'm intimately familiar with the numbers, the diaspora. I know we have a larger diaspora than we do a country. I know we've been bleeding people for a long time, thousands per year. The numbers, I'm very well acquainted with. I understand that the brain drain has occurred and it's continuing to occur and it's continuing to undermine. You talk about the nurses and training them. Well, I have friends as recent as weeks ago migrating nurses, medical professionals to the UK and the US. Guyanese working right here in Maryland at these hospitals. Within the last weeks, I'm telling you, my friends.
Well, all I would say to you, the present government.
But just
Okay,
allow me to finish, please, if I may.
Oh, I thought you would.
No. Just how do you seriously plan to engage the diaspora? I mean, the attitude thing, that's a cultural thing we will work on. That's a family thing. It's like your brother go abroad and he come back and he plays, he's a foreigner, you deal with that. But on a serious note, there's serious expertise we're sharing now in the diaspora and with very specific interest in contributing at home. So what kind of engagement? Because I'm sorry, but I'm not concerned about the criticism of the current administration. That gets us nowhere. I am concerned about a strategic plan that people can see measurable outcomes and understand that if in fact you're serious about development, these are the concrete steps we need to take. Criticizing the PPP is not the answer to the question. That's the type of bickering that is currently occurring. And it's getting us nowhere. And guess what? The losers are continuing to be the losers. We need to change the conversation, in my view. Not about criticizing, but about telling people in intelligible, comprehensible terms how we're going to positively affect their lives. That's what I would like to hear. Thank you.
All right. Let me say this to you. At present, we have one person who is responsible for engaging the diaspora. What we probably need to do is to set up a diaspora unit. And mind you, this is going to be a party level because we are going to be a party. At the government level, and you know for sure when we were in government, there was a diaspora unit to engage the diaspora. But we need to have a unit set up with a more structured approach, I believe. I had asked the last time I engaged the diaspora for us to get a survey of the skill set. That is one of the things that we will have to do. So what I can probably do is engage you after this, give you my number, and then we talk about how we can put in place a unit. Because I've had cases where I come to this meeting and somebody comes just like you and say, you know, 1, 2, 3, and after that, you know, hear from them. It has to be a joint effort. We are aware of what skills we need. What we need to do is to match it with the diaspora and have a unit that works with the diaspora to achieve those objectives that we talk about. And we will engage you after this.
Good evening, Mr. Norton, and welcome to Maryland. My name is Jennifer Benjamin, and I have a couple of questions for you. Last year, I was in Guyana, and I visited some friends in Boston. I was horrified at the state of the roads in Boston, with some huge potholes. And I said to my friend, what's going on here? He said, well, girl, Mr. Patterson had promised to do these roads when the Avenue was in office. However, they decided to do across the street in Annandale first, and they told us they were then going to, after they do the Indo-Guyanese community, then they're going to do the Afro-Guyanese community. However, that never happened because of the no confidence vote. After that, they were unable to do a lot of projects. So my friend said to me, when you leave me, go across the street and see what's going on in Annandale. So I did that, and I was shocked. Mr. Norton, I thought I was in a different country over there. The roads were like, so they were well done. The community was just totally different in the Afro-Guyanese. My question to you is, should you be our next president, will you fast track development in the Afro-Guyanese communities to come to par with the Indo-Guyanese community? During that trip also, I went up to Caribbean, Skeldon, the whole quarantine. I thought, it's amazing the development in Region 6, I think that's all. And after 23 years of neglect in the Afro-Guyanese community, and they're continuing to do that with the fast track development in terms of infrastructure and everything else.
I have always said that I will govern based on equity. He who has least will get more. And so in that context, the African Guyanese community will benefit. It is not true that no roads were done in North Side. I know of at least 2 that were done on the past. But let me say this to you. For some reason, we behave as Christians. And David Granger, whether you like it or not, had a philosophy that all the communities should benefit. And so it is true that he did the Indo-Guyanese community as well as the Afro-Guyanese community. But in doing so, what in essence happened is the Afro-Guyanese community weren't done as quick as they should have been done, and some weren't done. Now, the PPP comes to power. Mind you, the region had no oil resources. The PPP comes to power, and they proceeded to even redo roads. In Enterprise, for instance, I was called and shown that this road was good and they were dusting it up and doing it over. Now, I'm saying to you, I am committed to doing roads for all Guyanese, but special attention will be paid to the African Guyanese community because they are underdeveloped by the actions of the present government. And I want to say to my friend, it is one thing to say no to criticisms, but one of the tasks of the opposition is to expose what is happening. And in the process, you end up criticizing. And I do believe there is a role for criticism. Let me remind you that when we were in government, the PPP spent every day criticizing even the good. And so I hear you, but I will take a more pragmatic approach to politics. And to definitively answer your question to say that those communities will get special attention, but not only in roads. Roads are only one aspect. We have to focus on generating small and micro businesses in those communities. We have to focus on putting social reform things in those communities, all the social workers, etc. I talk about. I'm of the view that one of the programs that you will have to put in place in government is a program to train people to parent. There are a lot of people making children but don't understand parenting. So it will have to be a comprehensive approach, but I reaffirm to you that it will be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia. So we have been having a very engaging evening. You agree?
Yeah.
All right. And we've been exchanging a lot of information. I just want to share a little bit with you. So there's a very vibrant group here in Maryland of the People's National Congress Forum, and we always welcome new members. You don't know about it. All right. So I want to introduce you to our secretary. Company Secretary, could you please stand? This charming young lady is our secretary. As a matter of fact, I'll ask all the So after, when we break for some refreshments and so on, please feel free to approach the Madam Secretary for more information. And we look forward to seeing our group expand. One of the best ways to stay informed is to stay engaged. We'll take one more question, and then we'll bring this session to an end. All right. I will now ask the